Hello. Now, I'm just gonna get straight to the point with this video, okay? If you are doing something consistently, if you are doing something that you want to get good at, something you want to achieve, something you want to get better at, and you're doing something consistently every single day, for example, practicing, like these videos I'm doing right here. This is 16th December. I've been posting every single day in December, okay? Consistency, it's the key. But the thing that most people don't talk about, in fact, I haven't seen anyone talk about it, is make sure to take breaks. And I can't really even say on what's it about, what is it about breaks that improve yourself and make you see everything in a different angle. But I've noticed that things that I do, for example, I'm gonna, talk examples because, I have lived life, I know what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna tell you from my personal experience how things have worked for me and how taking breaks in a disciplined and consistent kind of way of living is actually good for you. And it's not a laziness, okay? Now, it was about 2 years ago, I think, when I maybe I can put it a little bit closer. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. Good. About 2-3 years ago, I was really keen to get good at football. Okay, I really wanted to get good at football. If you're talking about, going professional, whatever, right? But in my mind, I had this goal of getting really good at football and actually maybe getting somewhere, Sorry, I'm a bit sick right now. But I still have to make these videos for you guys, so consistency, okay? No matter the weather, I'm still gonna put in the work, right? Same thing with the football. No matter the weather, I was still gonna put in the work. Winter, right here in Scandinavia that I live in, we have we have winters, okay? We have snow and everything, and that time, the winter, everything was snowy, everything was, there was ice on the ground and everything, and I wouldn't necessarily say I live in a county too. I live in like half city, half kind of near the forest. Okay, so yeah, and I remember I wanted to get good at football, and that was the first thing. That was the first way of me. First time of me feeling discipline. First time of me doing something consistently. Oh shit. Okay, and and it really taught me about. I did it right. I went out every single day. I mean, maybe not every single day, but every day that I could, I went out here right in front of my house and did exercises. Right, played with football, kick-ups, everything, and I improved. But I'm not gonna get too detailed in the story, but one of the weird things that I learned about that experience is because, I can't necessarily say how long I was in that phase. Okay, maybe it was 6 months, something like that, and and I remember that I was, doing all this, right? Discipline, everything like that. Going out every single day, practicing, wanted to get good at football. And when I took a break, I just took a break, it wasn't even like consciously, it was kind of like I was getting tired of football, I didn't like it as much anymore. You could call it laziness, you could call it like, oh, you were just lazy, you didn't have discipline, you didn't have consistency, But what it really taught me is, it's a funny thing that I kind of gave up on football, okay? I kind of gave up on it, and I was going, I just didn't play it as much anymore, right? I think I even quit football, like practice, because previously, I had to practice and I had, doing it myself every day too, right? And I remember that I quit football, and a few months later, maybe it was even a half year, I'm not sure, okay? I have to kind of memorize it all. Um, but I remember that I took the long break, right? And then I went back to the football pitch, started kind of like, just after a long time, still like, want to play football, that kind of passion comes back or whatever, right? And I remember, because if you logically think, you might think that, okay, you haven't played football in, what is it, like half a year, and now you go back to playing football, you would be bad, okay? Logically, you would, like, be worse than you were before at your prime, okay, when you trained every single day. But what I learned is I was actually better, I was actually better than I did, than even in my quote-unquote prime, okay? I was actually better than that phase of my life. Why? I'm not sure, okay? But I know that when I took that break and I went back to football, I was like, wow, I'm so much better. Something just, it seems so much easier, okay? The feeling is almost like, previously I overthinked everything. Previously I did something, yeah, easy. That's the easiest way I can put it. I overthinked, and now, when I went back to football, after the long break, I was actually better. It was like something that football was just, so simple to me, that, like, what, I don't care, I'm just good, and literally I just turned good. And kind of like, yeah, that's a weird feeling, that I remember that I took the long break and all of a sudden I was better. And I noticed this with many other things too. I do something, when I'm previously in my video, I talked about how I like a lot of things, how I like doing a lot of different things. Is when I stop doing them, okay? When I lose the passion that I have for them, if you can call it passion, is after a while I get back into them, and they're like easier, okay? I can't describe it. They're just easier for me, okay? And I've noticed this with like literally every single thing. You do something, you get kind of like, you put in the discipline phase, okay? And you quit it, then you come back, and after that break, you're just better. It's like, just easier, right? I don't know, but what I've learned from that is, you have to take breaks, okay? No matter how disciplined, no matter how, consistent you are, make sure to take breaks. Now, don't do this when you're really like passionate about it. Like, don't force yourself to take breaks. But if your mind tells you that I really don't like doing it anymore that much, make sure to take breaks. If you feel like it's kind of like going down, if it's kind of like starting to, doing it is not as enjoyable as before, the results are not as good as before, everything like that. When you notice that and you're like, I really don't even like doing this right now, this doesn't mean like forever, just right now, make sure to take breaks, okay? Because, like, yeah, just make sure to take breaks. Like, literally, I notice this with every single thing I do. Like, after that consistent phase, I'm, just have to take breaks and you'll get better. So yeah, I don't know, share your experiences with this thing or topic, okay? But yeah, have a nice day. So like, yeah, see you in the next one. All right, peace.